What's good, y'all? This is Boy Back to the Designer. Back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. We got the squad in the building. Yeah.
Gang.
The pettiest man alive, Mr. P Kid, is in the building. Did you see somebody in the comments was like, why do they call him petty? And then drop the definition of petty to like say that you weren't that petty. That mess was hilarious. We got JC over in the cut. He's in Ringo's red hot corner because Ringo is not here. This man is out in Tallahassee, Florida, or wherever he's at. I don't know what the hell is going on in there. He brought the trap window back. He brought the trap window back. And then, of course, in the producer seat today, we got C-Dub. Joel, he's touching your stuff.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I ain't touching.
Hey, that's White.
Okay.
Hey, we got a lot to get into on today's episode of the Windy City Breeze, man. I mean, we got to touch on tough segue. Does a Chicago Bears win versus the Los Angeles Chargers actually mean anything? Does that change the outlook on the season? What does a loss mean? We also got some updates on some interesting draft capital that could be used to acquire pieces this season. And then finally, listen, the Chicago Bulls played last night. Well, the Oklahoma City Thunder played last night. I don't think the Bulls showed up. So we got to talk about that as well. All that and more on today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Ladies and gentlemen, me and Kid out here on a Thirsty Thursday. Shout out to y'all. Tip your bartenders. What's good, y'all? How y'all feeling?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good.
Great.
I'm happy basketball is back, baby.
So happy basketball is back, bro.
Yeah, that's a vibe.
Hey, Victor Wembanyama adjusting to not being able to touch people in the NBA definitely affected him last night. Last night was like, hey, yo, I can't like run into that dude. Like, y'all ticky-tack like that over here? Okay, I just want to make sure. Nah, man, listen, a lot to get into today. Let's start it off here because the Bears have a game that I guess you could consider a big game versus the Chargers coming up. Well, Pat, why is it a big game? Because if the Bears win, they move to 3-5, which technically puts you on the bubble.
Beats second in the division.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
That's crazy to think
there are too many playoff teams in the NFL. Everybody and their mama's making it. At the end of the season, Kid is in the playoff.
Hey, you know what? At least now we know what it feels like to be the Cowboys.
Oh, wow.
No, the Cowboys win the division.
No, not really. They
Cowboys
win
trash.
11 to 12
Cowboys
games.
be like
They
6
always
and
fall off at the tail end.
I mean, the Cowboys do be trash. I'm not debating you on that. What I'm saying is that they be trash, but the rest of the division be more trash, so they be less trash.
So what you're saying is they're beautiful garbage.
They're a beautiful garbage.
Okay. All right.
Y'all
I gotta
got
get
that
that in
down
every
pat.
time we do it.
Y'all down packed on that one.
Hey, bro, that mess was hilarious.
I don't know if they're gonna call you all supporters or not.
It doesn't matter. It's a great voice. But no, at the end of the day, here's the question I posed to the chat. What does a Bears win do? Does that change your outlook on the rest of the season? If they go in there into Los Angeles, a team that, I mean, listen, if the Chargers beat us, it'll be the Chargers got it right. If the Bears beat the Chargers, it'll be, oh, well, you know, of course the Bears beat the Chargers. The Chargers are pieces of garbage as well, which is exactly what happened with the Commanders. What are your thoughts on the outcome of this Chargers game if it does go that way?
I think it's a couple of things you have to take into consideration. How you win is important. And I know I've said that plenty of times, but it's true. Like if they go in there and Tyson is
two fumbles and like all of a sudden it's like 6-3 and they win the game. Yeah.
That's an ugly win, whatever, right? That's the Chargers being trash, us kind of just taking advantage of the situation. But if we go in there and Tyson plays well, the run game is dominant. Luke Getsy calls another good game.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, the Chicago Bears are trending in the right direction. And statistically, believe it or not, we've been trending in the right direction. We're like number one in running. Our defense, we have a top defense in the last 3 games of the year.
Against the rush.
Against the rush.
5 defense against the run.
We've been, I think the last 3-4 games includes the 2 games Justin and DJ Moore just went nuts.
Yeah.
So I mean, like if you look at it from that perspective, there's not many teams hotter than the Chicago Bears. This is just continuing. That's wild to think about, right? Like, but that's what the stats show you. That's the truth of it. So it's like realistically, it may be one of those situations where we just took a few games to get it together. Things are falling in place. I think it now, obviously that adds to the QB controversy. If he goes out there and plays well, that happens.
I think that's a real question too, right? Like 100, keeping it 100. If he goes out there and he gives you the same game and the Bears win, That doesn't change my opinion on where I stand right now with the Justin Fields conversation.
What you mean by same game? Like clean game?
Clean game, but 162,
Quarterback
maybe
manager.
a tutty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you win the game. Like the last game, I get it. We can hype Bajan up. We can be excited about Bajan. And I'm glad that the kid played well.
Was about 252 tugs.
252 tugs, we having a different conversation.
All right,
but I mean, like, no, that's a very different conversation.
Don't
Because that's
get
a very
greedy.
different game. I mean, you won the game off of the strength of your quarterback's arm.
Yep.
But
And the Chargers are going to force him to throw.
if they can stop the run, which they struggle at as well.
But I mean, but like realistically,
and that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like if he gives you a 162 game, does that mean that you feel that you can't go back on him? And here's the part that I want people to understand about this. It's not whether we want Justin Fields to play or not. If Luke Getsy and Matt Eberflus lose, they don't work here anymore. Like not this game, but like in the season.
in the season.
So if Tyson Bagent goes out there and balls out, and he's a guy who does something that Justin Fields hasn't done in the last 2 years,
Execute on a high level.
no, he's done that.
Consistently.
He did that in week 3 and week 4. Y'all know I'm not holding last season against him.
No, he execute their game plan on a consistent basis.
No, win 2 games in a row.
Nah, you can't do 2 games in a row.
If
That's a very low. That's a very low bar, bro. Like just 2 games.
My
Nah.
God, Justin Fields 8-1 2 games in a row in 2 years.
I mean,
I get it. I'm not. What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
if you're the head coach, you're looking at that and saying he just won back-to-back games, and if we don't keep winning, I'm fired.
man, that's the politics.
I want Justin Fields to be here. I think that he can be our franchise quarterback. I think he ran this system 3 times as well as Tyson Bagent did. People just can't see it because the Vikings game looked so bad when he had the wrong guy in there at center that we all agree is the wrong guy. And that's a huge thing. But the biggest thing for me is if he goes out there 162, 1 touchdown, and keeps everything the same, I think Justin Fields is still in a good position here. But it's good to know that I have a quarterback who could be a backup quarterback in this NFL, who is a D2 guy, and we never expected any of this from him. And he can go out there and operate in hostile territory and get you a win.
He definitely doesn't play like a D2 quarterback. JC, what you
No,
got?
not at all.
No. You know what? I'm on the fence because I look at it this way. And again, I agree with PK. It depends on how you win, but I also think it depends on how you lose. If Tyson goes out there, and I said this last time, I think that at some point in the game, if not at the beginning of the game, they're going to be playing from behind because the Chargers are that good on offense and on defense. And so if Tyson Bagent goes out there and keeps the Bears in the game with what he needs to obviously do, which is pass more down the field, if they're going to be behind and not commit to the running game, if the Chargers are stopping them with Mack and Bosa, I think that's a step forward, and you like what you see out of Bagent because then he shows you more than what he showed you as just a quarterback game manager this past week. If they go out and lose, but they say they lose 30-34, that still is a W to me because I'm saying, okay, well, what did Bagent do to keep them in the game?
Listen, you put up 30 points.
Bagent puts up 30 points, dog.
You know, so that's where I'm at. If they could get completely blown out,
He
okay,
just
I
did it.
expect that. That's not something that I'm gonna be surprised by. But yeah, I need to see some growth.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is this. I honestly believe that Bajan is going to perform decent. And like I said before, there's nothing wrong with him being a really good backup quarterback. I don't understand the debate we're having where we need to have Justin Fields versus Tyson Bagent. If anything, Bagent is filling in the role that we need as a backup quarterback. Fields is going to come back. And if they start implementing more of a run-heavy system instead of trying to make him a pocket quarterback, I think this offense is going to start ticking in the right direction. Eberflus is running his defense. We don't have anybody in front of us that I'm afraid of. Except maybe the Lions.
Yeah, the Lions.
Lions.
But if you look at our schedule, who really scares you outside of the Lions in our next few games we got for the rest of the season? Really, I don't see any.
The Browns.
The Browns.
That
Browns
defense. That defense is
Browns
crazy.
defense is
Hey, the
crazy.
Browns defense is number 1 in the NFL right
And the
now.
Browns live rent free
But
in
the-
Justin's head.
But Deshaun
Matt
playing
Nagy.
like he's still on the massage table. Ringo, what's your thoughts on it?
I mean, look, does a win change anything? Yes and no. I feel like I'm gonna say yes because
Relax there, President. Pick the president, really. You get whichever president you want to pick.
Okay.
Yes and no.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yes and no. But nah, I think that I think that it changes the outlook of I feel like the players that you have in the building, but it doesn't change the outlook of the like of the staff. Cause I feel like at the end of the day, it's kind of I think what you said on Monday was like this is a 2-win football team. So even if they get up to like X amount of wins, don't think that this staff is still going to be the same. It's still going to be the same after this year because realistically, if Tyson Bagent goes out, and in kid's dream scenario, he throws for 230 and gets you 2 touchdowns, it's like okay, now
30 is not a dream
you,
scenario.
now you know we
32
can
touchdowns, a dream scenario for
yeah
a backup quarterback.
yeah
I ain't gonna lie to you. That's pretty good day.
we could sit there and have the conversation of okay, well, Justin really isn't running this offense quite like you know how Luke wanted it, but hey, if Tyson's in there, he's making quicker decisions and getting the ball out and doing what he's supposed to do. Now we can have a conversation, and especially with the stats that kid threw out there at the beginning. Now you look at how the defense is kind of rounding in the form. Now you may not have to go out and get X amount of guys that you thought you may have needed continuing the season.
Yeah, and I think the main point of all of it is that right, like there could be a situation where Tyson Bagent is okay,
Yeah.
but he wins 2 games in a row, and Flus is like, I'm gonna stick with the hot hand because this is operating right. Like there's a real conversation to be had that maybe they do believe that Justin Fields is the starting quarterback of their future and all of that, but we saw Matt Nagy try to save his job. Why wouldn't I think that Matt Eberflus would? Matt Nagy put in Andy Dalton behind an offensive line that literally said, yeah, you probably need a quarterback that can run around. And Andy Dalton couldn't.
But he got that ball out though.
He got the ball
He
out
got
for
that
sure.
ball out though.
But he was getting murdered back there.
He got that ball out
Killed.
He was getting murdered back there on a consistent basis. I just think that is something that Bears fans really need to look at and say, like, yes, I believe that if Justin Fields leaves, that he'll go on and have success if he's put in the right system. 100%.
I hope he does.
But 2 games right now, don't be surprised if that's Matt Eberflus' thinking on this because he wants to keep his job.
And it should be. I think that one of the things you got to consider too is the locker room hasn't won 2 games in a row either.
I think that's the tough part, though.
The locker
The
room.
locker room is a very Justin Fields locker room.
Yeah, but it's like,
He
hey,
is their leader. Like when everybody's like, this isn't the Mike White situation where everyone hates Zach Wilson
yeah, for sure.
and they like Mike White
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
hate Zach Wilson.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
I mean, like there's always a guy that you hate. It's not Justin.
Here's the one thing that I thought about when it comes to the locker room that really stood out to me is how much he spreads the ball and spreads the love. I mean, he got a lot of receivers involved. There's incentives in those
Talking about
contracts. Bagent.
Yeah.
There's incentives in those contracts. Those are real. That's money. That's how they feed their families. So like,
They
even if they're
don't
not
really
winning,
try to implement that until the end of the season, though, bro.
no.
Yeah.
Receivers want to get.
Yeah, the incentives are there, but that's not really we not gonna feed these guys until really
Yeah, that's
the
usually when
end of the year.
But you got to be close to your incentives.
Yeah,
It-
that's true.
And up to that, they weren't
So-
close. So now you're like, hey, this kid comes in and like he's spreading the love. I may be able to do X, Y, Z. Guess what? That boosts morale. That does that. So yeah, you could be my guy. I love you to death, but I ain't getting paid with you, baby. We ain't breaking no bread like that. So like that's the part that comes into me. And I didn't even think about that till Olin Kreutz mentioned it. Olin Kreutz mentioned something along like is Tyson has the opportunity to win the locker room over by how much he spreads the ball. And I was like, yo, I didn't even think about that. I especially didn't think about that because it came from Olin Kreutz, and I keep thinking about getting stuffed in lockers. But
Speaking of the White House.
no, wait a second. No, it's totally different situation, baby. What are we talking about? But anyway, but like
I think there's something to be said about that because Justin Fields, one of his weaknesses, I think, is sometimes he kind of stares down the barrel of, and even though it's great that we got that wide receiver one and DJ Moore, I think sometimes when he tries to bail out, he looks for that home run pass instead of the
Facts.
dunks.
Facts.
And so you're not spreading it all over the place. You rarely hear Tunyon's name. You rarely hear Cole Kmet's name at times. It's either DJ Moore. I don't think you hear Mooney's name a lot at times in games. And so, spreading the ball, there may be something to be said about him winning over the locker room with that.
And when people sit there and say that there's not a controversy, there's not a controversy when you have a QB that's winning. Like if this is a winning situation and then the backup comes in, you're like, oh, when everybody likes the backup, then like, yeah, that's cool. Like that's different. But you weren't in a winning situation. You were in a situation where you were questioning a lot of stuff. You were waiting for some consistency. We had that. I didn't even realize the game we went to was the first home game win in the year.
It was first home game win in 386 days.
I didn't know that. Like I knew I was conscious of the fact that we hadn't won, but I was like, yo, I thought we just won. Both of them were on the road. I totally forgot that it was on the road.
Yeah, we beat the Patriots in New England, and we just beat the Commanders.
I'm like, yo, like that's big. That's big for the city. You got to think about that. So rolling with the high is a real thing. You only get so many games in the NFL season. So like I could see why you would do it. Does it make Tyson a better QB off the gate? No, he shouldn't be. He's a year one D2 quarterback in the NFL. But does it mean that he can have the opportunity to really excel as a professional on this level? Absolutely. And it's like, yo, yeah, Drew, like some of the most legendary QBs weren't the most talented. Drew Brees did not run like Lamar. I mean, like not Lamar Jack. Who was his era? Mike Vick.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have that. Drew Brees was captain check down. Like, I mean, it's cool, but look at what he became because of the system they built around him and stuff like that. So like it's possible. So that's what's at stake here. Like the narrative gets to grow, it gets to build, but it could be going in the right direction.
It just I look at it like this, man. Like honestly, if he has a game similar to the last game where he throws 160 yards, 1 touchdown, I think that's good. I don't think that really signifies that he's the guy.
Nothing.
It doesn't change. Now, if he goes out there and this man throws 3 touchdowns, maybe has over 300 yards. Okay, now we're going to start talking about QB competition.
Yeah.
Now that actually changes.
I think that's the part that people got to understand, though. That is the controversy. That's where the controversy begins.
Once you show up.
When you show up,
Mm-hmm.
he managed the game, did a good job. He played very well. He got you down the field. He didn't throw a pass over 10 yards. Guess what they're gonna take away?
Yeah, he did.
No, he did.
He do several.
He did. I literally have the passing chart right here. He's got one pass that he got one pass over 10 yards.
I think it was the Darnell.
I think it was the Darnell Mooney.
He got 2. He got one to Tyson, and Tyler, one to Darnell. Like we were there.
I know he threw that
Got
one
one
over the
pass
middle.
here. That's a 15-yard pass. He's got 2.
Yeah, 2.
He got 2 passes. That's an 11-yard pass right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like just over 10 yards. But the point of it is, right, like they're not going to give you that. Or they shouldn't, right? Like if they give that to you all day, you take it. But with what the Chargers are, they're probably not going to give you those throws all day for you to sit back there. Right, listen, Raiders are a dumpster fire. We know that. The defensive line is where their pressure is. Really, it's just Max Crosby.
Right.
Outside, and Marcus Peters a little bit, but like they're a dumpster fire. Yeah, I mean, like they're the weakest 3-win team in the NFL right now, for sure.
And then what happens when now the tape is out, right? Now we see his habits and what he likes to do and what he will do and how the line is preparing and how the offense is being ran. Now, when the tape is out, teams are going to adjust. That's where we really got to. I think it's a lot of people that's jumping the gun so fast. It's the hot topic. It's Bajent him. Is he the next Brady? And I'm just like, pump the brakes. Let's see how the tape goes, and then everybody adjusts. Let's see how he plays against some better defense, and then we can maybe have a better, argument as to who should be QB1.
Yeah, no, I mean, even to that point, is
Clapped.
Relax. Relax, baby. Relax.
hey.
Oh, man. Jesus, that got crazy. You can't hear that at home, Ringo, and y'all probably couldn't hear that on the you dig, but man, there was some furniture moving.
Something's going down.
This guy right here, man.
Shout out to Ebony Sales with the super chat. Says when Justin is at QB, he's the best player on the field. When Bajent is a QB, more players get to be the best player on the field. That's what wins games at the NFL level. It's not a bad take.
It's not a bad take
It's not
at
a
all.
bad take at all. It's a pretty good take, actually.
That's good.
And I don't disagree with that statement. But
At all.
if you can see Justin Fields operate in that point. That shout out to Ebony Sales.
That's a crazy.
That hit him so hard. Did you see his face on that? Did you see his face? That hit him so hard, dog.
My God, no, that should close the show right there.
Oh man, no, it's a great point. But I think here's the thing, right? There are times where you want listen. When Aaron Rodgers is on the field, that's when you want him. That's who you want to be a best player on the field, right? Like,
yeah.
But Justin Fields right now is just the best athlete. What I want from him is to be the best player that allows other players to be good. I've seen him do that in 2 games. The thing is, we saw that half against Washington. Or not Washington. We saw that half against Minnesota. And nobody wants to give credit to the situation that Justin was in. Now, held the ball too long. He did. These are things that he has to fix. There's still things that year 3 quarterbacks always have to fix. I just watched I watched a clip on the Dan Patrick show on the way over here. And
I think I know what you're talking about.
It was Kirk Cousins going through what they labeled his weaknesses as.
Yep.
And I was dying laughing because he was like dismissing all these weaknesses. And I was like, I'm not going to lie, they're pretty spot on. Hey, that was a pretty accurate. And they said this about him in the draft, right? Doesn't mean that Kirk Cousins shouldn't be starting at the NFL level. It means that Kirk Cousins has weaknesses.
You know why I watched that clip?
Because it was Kirk
Cobain's, baby.
Yeah.
Kirk Cobain's, baby. You know what I'm talking about. That's all I'm saying.
You really got to stop
fan. Whatever you want to call it. Whatever.
But what I do want to see Justin do is have the time that he had in those Commanders games, in that Denver game, to go out there and continue to do that with the same setup. And I think that the Bears finally found a good setup at their offensive line position to go out there and do that. And Braxton Jones is getting healthy. I believe on the injury report today, he was a full go as well. So there's a lot riding on this. And I think a win in this week, unless Tyson goes out there and shows you something phenomenal.
Our definitions of phenomenal are so many different levels.
I mean, 250 yards.
250 yards is average. That's average, though.
Yeah, but that would be phenomenal for a D2 dude in his second game as a rookie.
Yeah, against the Chargers. Yeah,
I mean, you got
that would be a phenomenal game with Khalil Mack and Nick Bosa on the other side.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal game.
I think it's possible, but I think that's what you should expect. 225 to 250 from your starting QB.
I mean, the crazy thing is too. I wanted to add to that point that Ebony was talking about. Even with Bajan spreading the ball around, the thing is, I need my QB to be that dude in the last 2 minutes, because if anything, I think we've seen it the last 2 weeks, right? Like, everybody calls Brock Purdy a system quarterback. They get into a jam last 2 weeks. The first week against Cleveland, he gets you down there. They get a field goal. Moody misses. The second week after that, I mean, up until that pick, they were driving. So, I mean, he's clearly shown that in those moments he can be that guy. But I mean, only time will tell. It's gonna be Bajan's second start. So we'll see.
Go ahead. I got a question with that though. Like, I understand that he has to be phenomenal, but y'all do realize that the chips are stacked against him on that end as well. Like, you're expecting him to be phenomenal in his second start of his entire career.
Oh, I didn't say that.
That is like, it's improbable. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, but I'm saying that's the situation you have to be in to go out there and change your whole organization up.
Yeah, true.
To shake your whole organization up. I'm not saying that I expect Tyson Bagent to do that, but to me, that's when you start to have the conversation on, oh, this guy is we got a real quarterback controversy here. This guy went out there and got the job done. And I want people to understand this. There's a such thing as fool's gold. We should know this by now as Bears fans. How many times have we seen a backup quarterback go out there and look great in 2 games?
Kyle Orton.
Yeah.
And then game 3 get there and they got tape. Now, Kyle Orton could keep doing it.
I don't know why we moved off Kyle Orton so fast.
Jay Cutler, Pro Bowl quarterback. That's why we moved off him. But he should have started in the Super Bowl.
He did. He should have. Yeah.
He should have started in the Super Bowl. It's crazy. Worst decision.
So we agree Kyle Orton was the dude, though.
He was a dude.
He was a dude. He had a moment, or like we just.
No, he had a nice career. He was a dude though. He was a journeyman quarterback.
He was a little Nick Folesy. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair. Nick Foles?
Not really.
Nick Foles got benched.
Orton was
Nah.
Foles? Nah.
Yeah, no, he's not Nick
Circumstance.
Foles. Hey, Nick
Nah.
Foles won a Super Bowl and operated a solid. What was that? What did he come in week 10 or something like that?
He was
Nick Foles
cooking.
had a nice little run.
Bro, I think it was like week
He had
11.
a clean pocket.
But Orton,
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful.
Hey, but Pat,
but Orton-
what you're seeing though is like even with Brock Purdy, right? So now that Christian McCaffrey might be down, and they're getting some players. Debo is hurt. That makes a huge difference in his ability to be productive on the field. And so, like, if you got your guys in there doing that, and that's what's elevating you to be this MVP level quarterback, not what's going to happen when Bajan doesn't have that line that's protecting him the way it was last game.
Same thing that happens if Justin Fields does.
Same
thing that happens when every quarterback does. That's the one thing.
Struggle.
That's the one thing that I gave Kirk Cousins in that clip. He said he struggles with pressure in his face. He said every quarterback.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's not many quarterbacks that don't struggle with pressure in their face. You hit quarterbacks, except Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was the only one.
No, except for Drew Brees.
Andrew Luck was amazing.
Drew Brees' whole career, he's half the time he's under pressure.
Andrew Luck.
Literally, statistically, he was half
Yeah,
the
that's
time.
wild.
But
Hey, Michael, real quick,
they said you hit a quarterback, it's not gonna make a difference. Andrew Luck got hit so much, and they was like, except this guy. that's literally what defensive coaches would be talking about with Andrew Luck. They'd be like, I don't know what
Joe
it is
Burrow in
about
that
him,
conversation
but
too.
You hit him, and he get better. Y'all hit him softly.
And they hit him so much he's out the league now.
Oh yeah, and Joe Burrow about to follow him right out.
So guess what? It only lasts so long.
It only lasts so long. Hey, you can't keep getting hit.
Tom Brady looked real average with
you
pressure on him.
You can't keep getting hit like that. Let me ask y'all this though: what does a loss do in this situation?
Depends
Bears end up losing this game.
Depends on how you lose.
I mean, even with depending on how you lose, are you 2-6 at that point? I'm talking about for the season. What does a loss do for you in this game? Now, I guess there could be something major if we see Bajan go out there, throw 300, 2 tutties, all that, right? Like, and then all of a sudden it's like, I mean, we lost, but like, this man threw 300, 2 tutties. Like, yo,
go ahead.
I would still say we're still in limbo because if you're saying that we're still on the fringes of the outside of the playoffs, if it's
2-6, you out.
No,
really.
From 2-5.
Minnesota's 3-4.
This NFC, maybe not.
Minnesota's 3-4.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, statistically, I don't think we would still be in limbo. I still think if we lose, okay, yeah, we have less of a chance to make the playoffs. But the whole league is trash, so we may still have a chance.
The whole league is bad, bro.
But
yeah.
I
I forget who we had. This is a former QB, legendary QB. You had an interview I was listening to the other day. And he said something. No, it wasn't Tony Dungy. He just said this. He was talking about evaluating Justin Fields. He says, I'm not worried about the record. I'm worried about development. And I'm like, I've been saying that this entire time. Like, if you're in a situation where you need to find out if you have the guy or guys on these 1-year contracts, it's how you lose matters. Like, is this a close game? Is this a manageable thing that we had an opportunity to win? That matters. Like, you're talking about, like, skip the QB aside, but if we're going to stick with Tyson Bagent, like, realistically, he went out there and did battle with the Chargers and had a game against Justin Herbert, who we all, like, Justin Herbert threw 14,000 yards in, like, 3 years. Like, Justin Herbert has a chance to be a generational talent. Like, realistically, I know it's a lot of empty yards, but
I might be the only one on this train. Hey, Justin Herbert whack.
He's not. Yeah, that's you only one on the train, bro.
Come on, man.
You only one on the train. I think his.
Hold on. No, I can't go.
Leads the NFL right now among active quarterbacks.
Amongst losses.
Among active quarterbacks and
losses.
Fourth quarter turnovers.
Yeah, I think his coaching is whack. I think
the coaching been whack.
Numbers, bro, and it's just like. I'm like, that's great, but wait till the fourth quarter. And I swear, every time I say wait till the fourth quarter,
it happens.
It happens.
It happens every time.
Wait till the fourth quarter. Bro, I literally said they was up for, I don't think none of y'all was there. When we was playing cards at Joe crib, when they was or not at Joe crib, maybe it was at Amy crib, somebody crib. And
it was Amy crib.
They was playing the Jaguars.
Yeah. It was up.
They was up what, 28-7 or something like that? Everybody's like, oh, this game over. I was like, Justin Herbert in here. It's the second half.
Their defense gave up, though. Like, their defense allowed Jacksonville to get back into that game.
He didn't score no more touchdowns.
Yeah, but he put them in a position to be up.
Look, he didn't score no more touchdowns.
Like that's, but you see what I'm saying? Like, that's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert is still put them in a position to be dominating that game, right? So he gets the credit for the loss, even though that offense didn't score against Justin Herbert. They scored against their defense.
Yeah.
Right. So that defense gave up on him. So how you lose matters, because my opinion on Justin Herbert is he's a great potential QB with a whack coach. Like, what's it?
Brandon Staley is whack.
Staley is whack.
Brandon Staley is
He
whack.
has way too much talent for this team to be in limbo.
Yeah, no.
Like he is
should
Billy
get fired.
Donovan.
He should get fired.
He's Billy Donovan.
Yeah.
Like, for real. Like,
Hey,
I don't know what's happening
a lot
here.
of
He's
Billy
Billy Donovan.
Donovan's going around though.
You said what?
A lot of Billy's going around though.
That's a lot of Billies.
It's a lot of Billies right here.
Lot of Billies, and if it's a lot of Kirks, it's a lot of Billies.
Yeah, it's a lot of Billies in the league
If
right
there's
now.
a lot of Kirks, it's a lot
Billy
of Billies.
Donovan is we gonna get into that in the second
we
half.
gotta touch on that at the end of the show.
But like,
But
for
yeah.
real though, like you got a top running back. You got great names on your defense. It's an open house thing going on.
I know the whole it's wild.
Everybody got the door open. They selling stuff, you know.
Hey,
Wow, he just
Calm
wants
down,
someone
boy.
to be getting clapped.
Everyone know me.
He got me. I lost my thought.
What was your point? What were you saying?
You know what? Let's go to Billy Donovan.
Well, let's
Billy
touch
Donovan.
on this first. How about we do this?
I hate you, dog.
Nah, realistically speaking, though, just to put a bow on it, right? Because we're terrible at that. We get to talking and laughing, and then we'll never finish nothing off. I think that in this situation, right, a loss puts you where you start to look around the locker room and say, okay, are we holding on to these pieces long term? A win to me, Jalen Johnson isn't getting moved. You're probably paying him at the end of the season, and that's a very small thing, right? It's a win that puts you at 3-5 because I think at that point you're still trying to compete.
Yeah,
You can't compete if you remove Jalen Johnson from this team.
Yeah, but let's say he goes out there, he gives you another pick. So he's doing
trade value.
I wouldn't trade him because he's doing. You still need that player.
Yeah.
You still need what he brings to the table. So don't get rid of him. You pay that man his money. Like
that's a matter of if you want to pay him. Though.
Pay that
Hey,
man his.
I'm gonna be like this.
For quarterback applies to every player on that field. He is not Ryan Poles' pick.
So then
And
why?
But he's
Ryan Poles has drafted 5 DBs since Jalen Johnson has been here.
But he would be the best performing DB.
Yeah, right now. Yeah,
So you pay him his money.
Since when?
No.
probably Fuller.
I was about
No.
to say
Probably since Kyle Fuller.
all right,
Like
okay.
you pay him his money. Like where
No.
does he stack amongst the people at his position league wide?
I mean, he's very good percentage.
Is he top 10 at his position league-wide?
No.
Top 15 league wide.
No.
Is he trying to get?
The problem is he has all the numbers except takeaways. He's got 2
Right.
takeaways. Those are the second and third
Same
takeaways. He's
That's
got
the
2
only thing
takeaways.
hurt.
this season. That's the
I'll
second
say
and third
this.
takeaway his career. You pay DBs for takeaway.
Yeah.
I'll say this.
Now,
The
everything
Bears,
else, he's an elite DB. He is. QBR against him is like 22 right now.
Yep.
His pass breakup numbers are tops of the tops. Like he's a really, really good DB.
They just don't throw his way.
They throw to him. Hey, listen, we gotta stop saying that too. I don't like us saying AJ Brown was right on the other side of him.
Hey, AJ Brown he didn't score though.
Hey, he did not score a touchdown.
He didn't score
He did
though.
not score a touchdown.
But he got 180 yards.
AJ Brown's elite right
I'm
now.
dying on that hill. You know, you get halfway through an argument, you be like, I ain't winning this one, but I can't give it up.
Hey, he was like, he did well, 180 yards.
Yeah, 186 yards. Is
So he
crazy.
just went down the field twice on him. Huh?
186 yards is crazy. But no, even with that though, right? Like Justin Jefferson against him, he's had up games, he's had down games. He's like there's so many things to look at, but for me, when you talk about paying guys, I mean, you're probably paying, if you franchise tag them, you're paying them 18. You're trying to get a little bit below that. So you're talking about maybe 17, 16 million. That's Xavier Howard money. He ain't Xavier Howard.
No, he's not.
Was Xavier Howard's in a better defensive situation though? He got help.
100%. But
So when you got help, and it's not.
But I'm not gonna pay you based on what could happen. I'm gonna pay you based on what you've done for me and what I hope you continue to do.
So talk
with a pass rush.
Yeah.
I do believe that Jalen Johnson could be a better DB.
Because you have pressure on the QB that forces him to make passes that he normally would.
The problem is
We don't have a pass rush. So, but I'm saying, like, doesn't that matter? It's like
It does matter,
use it to like the
but-
QB
but
situation.
It matters, but here's the thing: the GM's job is to get you as cheap as possible. So to the GM, it don't matter, especially a GM that is not the GM that drafted you.
Talk me through that though. This is like a real question. Like I'm gonna go QB, not to say Justin Tyson. That's not that, but like A QB who's a good QB but has no receivers, their number is going to look different than a QB that has good receivers. A QB who has decent receivers but no offensive line, it's like you have so many different things that impact them, right? But QBs typically get their money because you identify talent.
Yeah.
We could just identify why Jalen Johnson's numbers may not be elite, but the stuff that he does control for the most part, he does pretty well in. Like,
well, I mean, if the defensive pressure is there from the line, then yeah, that allows the cornerbacks to kind of jump passing lanes and be a little bit more confident in just jumping lanes and getting more interceptions. More
so he can't
just
do
like
that
Eddie
now.
Jackson used to do.
So he can't do that now, right? Not realistically.
It's not that he can, but I think that he's probably playing
doesn't
a little bit
gamble.
more conservative.
He's not going to gamble with it because the guys that have been for most of his career, right, it's been Bojack behind.
Mm-hmm.
Bojack can't tackle.
Nope.
So like,
so if I gamble, this dude probably going to the house.
So like, here's one of the situations I feel like if you don't give it, like, not taking a flyer on him at this point, you risk. This is where I really say you risk losing a player who could have made major impact as you fixed everything else. That's the question there. Like, I know that we like use that for like excuses on everything else, but like the statistics show that like you said, his pass breakup was pretty good. All this stuff is there. If he had pressure on a QB, he could potentially have more impact and stuff like that. So like, what happens then? Like, why? How do you like just move away from that when it's like other factors that lead into him not being able to give you those numbers?
Really would concern me with Jalen Johnson is if the locker room effect if we traded him away, because that was something that was real with Roquan. I was fine with you trading away Roquan because I knew, right, like I told y'all, we can go get linebackers. We went and got them. Like you can find linebackers. Like the Bears are elite at it. Our whole history is linebackers. But the effect that it had on that locker room, remember that defense was kind of not. It wasn't becoming elite, but they were starting to become a unit that it was like, okay, we know how to play with each other. We know what to be, and you rip the heart of it out. You have to worry about that aspect of it as well, and that's why a lot of times when I talk about,
where do you get those players now, though?
What you mean?
Like, you're not going to get those players.
No, if you trade Jalen Johnson, you trade him for picks. You're not going to get players.
So
in the NBA, in the NFL, you usually don't trade players for players.
So
you usually trading a player for some picks.
So now we're like looking at building through the draft to get those type of players.
We still are, and I think that's the thing. Even with unless we go out here and they did put the draft capital out there for what they want for Chase Young and/or Montez Sweat, which could be a building block for the future. But outside of trading for it's a second and third round pick, basically. But outside of trading for them, your team is still building through the draft. No matter what. We're going into the draft next year looking for cornerstone pieces.
You got to have some veterans, though.
You do have to have some veterans, but at that point, right, you have Jaquan Brisker, who's been a really good player for you on his third year. You probably still have Eddie here because I don't think anybody's going to take Eddie right now. Like, he's so beat up, and you're probably just going to have to ride that contract out. It is what it is. You'll have your vets that are on your defensive line, different things like that. He's trying to build this from youth. And at the end of the day, you still got to build, right? You're trying to sit here and develop a 3 technique out of 2 young players.
Yeah.
And they're going to allow those young players to develop. Unless there's an elite 3 technique that you like, hey, listen, you're a backup.
I just say this: it's a hard job to be a GM in any sport.
Oh, it ain't easy.
But even harder in the NFL, in my opinion, when it comes to this, because this is there's so many different moving pieces that the average fan doesn't give credit to. And so salute to Ryan Poles, because depending on who you ask, he's been trash. But if you really look at it, he's been hitting on a lot of his particular picks. So, I mean,
I've never
crazy.
thought that I ain't gonna lie to you. I've never thought that he was trash, because for me, looking at Ryan Poles, like, there are moves that I think he's missed on.
Facts.
GMs miss.
All the time.
In the NFL, if your GM hits at a 55% clip, he's
a good GM.
He's an elite
GM.
And I'm talking about draft capital. I'm talking about draft trades. I'm talking about, like, if your guy is hitting at a 55%, that means you're right almost half the time. And that's an elite GM. A good GM, you're talking about maybe 45%. Because you're just trying to find those cornerstone pieces that can then work together. And that's why a lot of times for me, it comes down to relationships. It comes down to coaching staff. It comes down to scheme, because of all the things that have to take place for your team to be elite. I mean, my favorite thing in the world is Tommy Waddle breaking down how much it takes for a 5-yard route to work.
Wheel route.
You're talking about 15, 16 things have to go exactly right or it's an incomplete pass, or a turnover. And it has to happen at once. And so when I look at kind of the job that Ryan Pace has done, I look at the guys that everybody was begging him to pay money for and how awful they've been. Now, he got a little lucky with Larry Ogunjobi. I ain't going to lie.
Mike McGlinchey.
McGlinchey is cheeks.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike McGlinchey is horrible.
Bro, he don't even look like a good player.
Hey, bro.
I like for him sticking to his guns on.
He
not
over it
drafting
already.
Carter, though. I didn't appreciate it in the
Not
moment.
drafting what?
Jalen Carter. I mean, Javon Carter. Not Javon Carter. You know what I'm talking about.
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter. I liked him sticking to his guns on that one.
He just knows he don't have the infrastructure for it.
Yeah.
By the way, is Jalen Carter still like wrecking havoc every week? Feel like
he's the
few weeks, but let me
feel like everybody's like, oh my God, how could you take Darnell Wright? And then it was just like
Philly's been having some
pretty
issues
good.
getting the ball to AJ Brown, and then AJ Brown started crying and he started getting the ball more. He's in Jalen Hurts.
Thank you, AD.
doing a lot of
Appreciate you, AD.
But AJ Brown is you get him the ball. I'm sorry. You get him the ball.
yeah, you should be
You know.
having that conversation on getting quarterbacks the ball.
Hey, let's just be clear. Jalen Hurts, you get him the ball. There's no reason for you to be sitting there not getting him the ball. So, like, I know you want to say chillax and all that stuff, but guess what? Pass the rock, bro.
Let's keep this thing moving along, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. I did want to touch on this a little bit as well. The NCAA is fully in on investigating Jim Harbaugh or Michigan as a whole, not just Jim Harbaugh.
That's whack.
I mean, listen, there's some pretty tough evidence out here that say that they was all in on cheating in this month.
You ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's wild.
If Jim Harbaugh is found to have connection with this, we would not find out about it until after he probably ends up leaving on a, we agreed amicably to come together and we just felt that it was best for the university if, Jim wasn't around here anymore. And Jim agreed that he didn't want to take part in the college game. You know how they do all that like nice talk to basically say, we ain't want to fire him. But
so you're saying should the Bears be in on it? Yep.
Should the Bears be in on him? And does it bother you if you know 110% that because if he leaves, you pretty much know?
Nope. You want to know why?
Cheated.
Because
I'm talking about sign stealing. Bill Belichick cheated.
But that you said it right there. Because who
Bill
did
Belichick's
it?
still
Bill
got a
Belichick
job.
cheated.
He still
Guess
got a
what?
job.
Tom Brady had 4 games with Deflategate.
There you go.
At this time, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, baby. Go ahead and get him. Pay him that $7 million a year. Keep it moving. Because
Yes,
guess
sir.
what? That is you think
Probably
Justin?
up to 10. You probably up to 10.
No, you got caught cheating. It's a $7 million contract, right?
You taking out $3 million?
Hey, listen. Hey, come on, baby. Hey, listen. If we was at 4.5 with
Right.
Buddy right here, I'm gonna give you 7. Make do with it because guess what? If you believe Justin Fields is a generational quarterback, and I think he has an ability, that's the one coach I believe that can get the most out of him.
It is weird to think of Jim Harbaugh as a quarterback's coach or like as an offensive-minded guy. I don't know why that's weird to me. It really feels weird to me when I look at him. I'm just like, yeah, he knows offense.
Because his brother.
John's a special team.
That's what I'm saying. His brother was complete opposite.
I don't know. I just look at Jim, and Jim just seemed. You know what it is, and this is why I think so many people like Jim and want Jim. Jim is Chicago. You look at this dude, and you just like, hey, bro, like, what you doing in Michigan?
I'm gonna give you another
Level
take.
4.
He's more in tune with this generation of player because of his coaching experience. He's more in tune with this. All the we're going young and everything like that. He's more in tune with those players.
Because he's been a college coach and stuff
Exactly.
like that. He's dealing with these young boys.
So bringing him over,
Yeah.
I think he have a bigger impact. He can relate better to those players, and he still has the the resume to garner the respect that Eberflus just doesn't.
I don't know if they don't respect Eberflus. Well, I know Chase Claypool didn't.
And it doesn't have to be like,
I
oh, they
know
don't
Chase
respect him
Claypool
as a man or anything like that. But let's be real, Jim Harbaugh comes with a storied,
Yeah,
you
that's a
know,
resume.
he got a player, this, that, and the other.
Hey, Josh Pruitt, facts. Pete Carroll and USC. Pete Carroll left USC for pretty much the same reason. Yeah, I mean, it was a very all right, we're gonna move on. We appreciate you guys. Hey, wait a minute, where you going? You under arrest? I don't work there anymore.
And I love it.
Hey, yeah. I don't know, man. I'm just I
Ryan Poles need to be on the phone right now. Hey, baby, listen. Check this
oh,
out.
he probably already had that conversation.
Hey.
And the connection is
believe
there. Kevin Warren, they got the connection.
There you
Oh,
go.
Kevin Warren
You
should
know
be on the
Kevin
phone.
Warren loved Jim.
Hey,
you
Jim, listen here, baby. We're gonna
Yeah.
move.
I feel like Poe's already had the conversation though. Like you got to think about it. It's because I heard somebody say like, oh yeah, if they get 6 wins, like Flutes and Gussie coming back. Like nah.
Listen, you in Michigan, Chicago, like
if it's one thing we know already is that Poles is progressive. So it's like, you know, if he don't feel like they getting the job done, they getting up out of here. So you already know that him, Kevin, and Jim already had that conversation. I feel like that's finalized, that's done, and you know, it's all but signed at this point.
Say it's a matter of time.
Oh, you think it's already a done deal?
Hey, listen, I'm
Oh
telling
yeah,
you this right now.
I think it's already a done deal.
This is how Ryan Poles gonna get us. He gonna bring in Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh gonna be like, hey, listen, you know that dude who you all made this imaginary position for to work at home? Yeah, I'm gonna give him that defensive coordinator job right there. We're gonna bring Lovey back. And then all of a sudden, the entire Bears fan base is gonna go nuts.
Jim ain't gonna bring
Nah. At that point, that's doing too much.
Jim definitely one of them was just like, nah, you ain't taking my job.
Oh,
You ain't gonna be
well.
nowhere near my job.
You think- I think Jim.
You're not gonna be anywhere near my. Nah, Jim. I ain't gonna lie to you. Jim is a.
He's a territorial dude.
Jim. He say it's my team.
Say he's Chicago.
I don't need you. And I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, you know what it is too. It's the conversation and the relationship that, to me, right, Jim Harbaugh wanted to go back to Michigan because that's where, right, his former head coach had so much success at, and he sat there for so long, and he wanted to be a part of that storied franchise, and, you know, like going out there and getting your alma mater a win, a national championship win. They ain't even had a shot at it, really, but a national championship.
Hey.
I mean, listen,
Be cool. Didn't you just find a college team?
Hey.
You just found a college team, didn't you?
Hey, I don't mean
You
I
just found your college team.
what's
All right,
happening
though.
there. Yeah, I mean, listen,
All right.
don't be mad at me that Jim Harbaugh ain't brought y'all no closer to a championship than anybody.
Hey.
But if he gets that close in Chicago, though, like you realize you don't have to win a championship in Chicago. You just have to be good consistently.
Here's the question. Here's the question that I will ask everybody, though. Right? Everybody sitting here right now that's sitting there complaining. Oh my God. Ryan Poles didn't get to pick Matt Eberflus. He didn't get his own head coach. If Jim Harbaugh come back here, y'all think Matt Eberflus Ryan Poles got anything to do with that?
No.
No, there might be somebody
That's
else.
a Kevin Warren, George McCaffrey.
That's George.
That's
George.
Yeah.
George was out drinking while Jim was out drinking.
I think
That's
it's a
George.
Kevin.
Yeah.
I think it's something that has to go past Poles, but I mean,
yeah,
that's about it.
Hey, Kevin, I just want to slide this past
right past the right.
That's who we're gonna be hiring. That's
you mean this guy?
You're gonna be okay with it, right? Right.
This guy?
Yeah, that's exactly what's gonna happen. It's got to go past Poles. Let's slide it right past his face. But no, I really feel like.
What you just say?
Shut up.
Hey,
Shut up.
Hey,
look.
I don't know if that's crazy.
I told you, bro. You gotta be.
I don't know if that's that crazy.
And this is how.
That.
Hey, listen. Ryan Poles as a GM will have be in a very interesting situation. This is how we pivot, baby. We're gonna go to another GM who's in a very interesting situation.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love.
I'm saying we gonna go this way.
We got 103 in this mug, man. Hit that like button if you haven't done so. Every time you guys hit that like button, it really does help the channel out, man. I want to ask y'all this question because the Chicago Bulls started playing last night. Which
did they
season? Right? Did they though? Did they really start playing last night? Which season opener was worse? The Chicago Bulls or the Chicago Bears? The Bulls got beat by 20. Pretty much only in the fourth. Like, they just didn't show up in the fourth quarter. They thought it was 3 quarters and they was good. It was like Bears versus Denver. Or the Chicago Bears taking the L to the Green Bay Packers. Because last night was atrocious, but we had so much. You know what it is? I don't think we were as hype. I thought the Bears was coming in with a little bit of energy here. They did not.
That's why it's the worst loss.
It's definitely the Bears. I mean, come on, because not only did we think as a team that they improved vastly, the pundits, all the media was getting behind this team, saying, "Oh, this is the year." I forgot the guy's name that works on ESPN. He always,
Orlovsky.
Greeny.
Orlovsky.
Orlovsky. Orlovsky was the main one saying that he could be in MVP conversations, maybe not be the MVP, but he could get to that level. And we bring that out against Jordan Love, who nobody thought was going to be good at the start.
And Jordan Love,
like, come on,
that
man,
game,
he picked us apart.
He ain't cooked since.
And now he trash.
He ain't cooked since. He looked like
cooked since Bakhtiari went down.
Man.
But see, I agree with that. That's the reason why it was so terrible to see the Bears lose at home against Green Bay, and Jordan Love looking like the guy at that time. Like that was depressing to me. Like I felt depressed. The Bulls losing yesterday, I did feel depressed, but it wasn't like I had an expectation that they were going to be more than a 45-win team anyway. They went up against a really good Oklahoma City Thunder
if the
team.
Bulls play like that, we ain't talking about 45.
Oh, man. We might be talking about 42. But, I mean, here's the thing.
You still in the 40s?
No, I was more than the 40. Subtract 10.
Hey, if the Bulls play like that, bro. Hey, and I said this yesterday. I said this on Locked On Bulls. I said this on Locked On NBA a little bit as well, but mostly on Locked On Bulls. This ain't, we're going to wait 25 games to see what this is. You got, right, this is real continuity. This is not this is not, right, like the Bears continuity, right? This is real continuity. This is, y'all been together 2.5 years pretty much. I mean, Vooch been here a little bit longer. They fighting already. Game one, we had a players only meeting, and Mark Eversley quantified it as, I'm glad to know that they care, which we'll see, right? Like that's really what this is. The players only meeting is only good if they go out there and they win 3 of their next 4.
And Vooch got into it with Billy on the bench.
Well, I think that's all the same conversation.
On the bench. Here's the one thing I will say about that. It's. I mean, we already know Bears' loss was worse against your rivals in the division. You only have 17, 18 weeks. Like realistically, we know that's what. Here's what makes the Bulls just as depressing though. Not just continuity. Billy still ain't figured out his lineup.
Oh my God. You know what? I'm not mad at the rotations. I wasn't mad at the rotations. What I was mad at.
Why Carter gets 16 minutes to shoot? Go for 1 for 4.
Why who?
Carter got 16 minutes, went 1 for 4, and did nothing. I watched that game. I watched him.
Did he play good defense?
Not really.
Really. He really didn't do much.
He's not a great defensive player.
Hey man,
he never has been.
Hey, Shea Gildress told him up.
Who?
Shea told that man.
I mean, Shea told that's Shea.
Shea told everybody.
Hey, let's not get a loss. He had P. Will going the other way.
It's like ankles. It's like, hey, he went that way. Dang. Like,
what is he doing over there?
Hey, Drummond did snatch Chet's ankles.
But see, that's the part that irritated me yesterday when I was watching that game. Was like,
you have no interior people who can stop them.
They had nobody to stop. Like,
what Chet gonna do
when Andre Drummond can cook somebody?
This is Chet.
Hey,
this is Chet. What is he gonna do?
Let's be real about this. When's the last time Andre Drummond cooked somebody?
I mean, it depends on how much time you give him. He got, whatever.
No, legitimately cooked somebody.
Oh, I mean Detroit. 4 years. 4 years.
He crossed Chet and dunked on him and moved him out the way, basically like he didn't exist there. And Vooch did the same thing. And at no point in that game did you look around and go, hey, why don't we get a ball to them? That's my issue with Billy Donovan. Yeah. It's not. I actually like the rotations that they threw out there. Yeah. But you know what? When something is working or there's a hot hand or something is consistent and you go, well, that don't fit with our rotation, it's time for you to go to the bench. That's
he's too scripted. He's way too scripted.
On top of that,
here's the thing. It's tough, right? Most coaches are.
Here's the funny thing.
Most NBA coaches are. There's a couple of them that we talk about that are elite at not being a part of the script.
Have y'all looked at our roster and like really compared it to where AK came from? We are a discount.
I don't know why.
No, yeah, discount Denver.
We're discount
Denver, Chat.
Hey, that's all we are. We are the great value Denver Nuggets. Now, here's the thing: great value Denver Nuggets should be a playoff team because of how we're constructed. Here's the problem: you know what they do that we don't do? We don't play through our bigs. Well, we don't play through our bigs at all.
I don't want to play through Andre.
They have a generational one. They have the best big in the league, though.
I still have a top 10 big though.
That's a fact, but he doesn't do what Joe.
I have a
Jokic
top
does.
10 big. I have 2 top 10 shooting guards.
Yeah, but last night I don't want to play.
I should be able to create some stuff, and I should be able to identify mismatches, and I'm not doing it first game of the season.
Yeah, last night I didn't want them to play through my big. I wanted my big to play through Chet.
Yes,
That's all I
through.
want. I just wanted him because there was only one mismatch yesterday.
Yep.
Lou Dort on DeMar DeRozan isn't a mismatch. He's
No,
not
Lou
going to be able to
Dort-
take advantage of him.
Lou Dort is a
Jalen
good-
Williams on Zach LaVine is not a mismatch. He's not going to be able to take advantage of him. Kobe White on Shea is not a mismatch. He's not going to be able to take advantage of him. There was one mismatch that was screaming at you the entire night, and everybody was like,
Whoever stuck the big.
Whoever
stuck the
They don't have
big.
nobody. They should have had to get to a point in last night's game where, very much like the Bulls had to do at times, we have to take him out because we need to put somebody in there that weighs more.
Mm-hmm.
Force the double and allow your big to make the. And Vooch is a good passing
And the
big.
Bulls can't throw an entry pass. Say they're like they in the NBA.
Oh
There's
my
I ain't
God.
gonna lie to you. Fundamentals in I like all the scoring. I like the high scoring, all that. Fundamentals in basketball is kind of dead.
You want to know why they don't have a good entry pass? Because they don't have a point guard. Kobe White's not a point guard.
He's a 2 guard.
Kobe
No,
White
he's
is a
not
2
pro
guard.
touch.
He always has been a 2
Yeah,
He's
guard.
a combo.
He's a 2 guard though. Look at his college tape. Everyone goes back to his college. Go back. He's a 2 guard. He's just not better than Zach.
But you know what I think?
That's cool.
Nah, but his handle is good enough that he could bring the ball up. I don't care about
You know
that.
how many 2 guards
That's
got
a
good
fact. Yeah,
handles?
that's a
but
fact.
bro, like this is not a point guard thing. This isn't a pure point thing.
You should. Anybody
It's
should
an
be in the
entry
mix. It's
pass.
an entry pass. Everybody should be in
Into
the
the post.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's an entry pass.
Everyone should be
They
able to
were
do that.
shading, and everybody on the team went.
And you want to know why they should? And then on top of that, we missed so many wide open threes.
Now, I
That's
will
a
say
fact, too.
this. I will say this. If I'm gonna give credit to Billy on anything, I hate the fact that you didn't adjust your game. That high post action, he got work. You got knockdown shots. That high post action where you got either Torrey Craig or Patrick Williams setting that screen up top for DeMar DeRozan or Kobe White or Zach LaVine or Kobe White, where they come off of it works.
It works.
And it works so well that even off of that, right? Oh, I got hit on the screen, so now I'm gonna play up on the shooter. There's a
Play up,
corner.
play up, play.
It worked. Play up, play up. That's
Thibodeau.
Hey,
Losing his voice.
hey, that man was on the court on that play. Nobody
All
ever
the
peeped.
time.
That man was like 3 feet on the court. Like, that's a technical foul. But the offensive system that he had actually worked.
Yeah.
If they knock down threes.
Yeah.
Now you got to be the goddamn Golden State Warriors, though.
They shot 40.
And I don't think that they shot 42.
How many they
I
hit?
don't think we got the Golden State Warriors out there, boys.
How many they hit?
12.
Turning a cruise ship. That's what it's turning a cruise
No,
ship.
yeah, it's slow. This is for what we saw last night is the system that will be for whoever we go out there and get in the future. But I'm glad to see the Bulls shooting. Like, listen, I don't care what you say. We lost last night. Last night sucks. You will win no games in this NBA. You will make 0 playoff series in this NBA.
If you're not hitting threes.
I think
If you're not shooting more than 28 3-pointers a game. It's not even about hitting them. If you ain't shooting 28 3-pointers a game, you're not going to make this.
You want to know why that
You're not-
statement is so true? That's the number one knock on the Phoenix Suns. They have too many mid-range shooters.
I think they can.
They got some of the
shoot
best
threes.
ever.
Ain't that wild though? Like I
Yeah.
just said the Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and you know who I'm
Devin
talking to,
Booker.
Devin Booker.
Yeah.
And we're talking about shooting.
Yeah.
Like-
Devin Booker cooked the other day.
And there's like they don't shoot enough threes. That's going to be the biggest
Well,
knock on them. What the
probably
heck?
don't have
That's
to.
the league
They
we're in
don't,
now.
though.
They just
But I mean, even to that point though, kid, like I feel like it's a difference though. If you can kind of balance it out, then there's not much of a discussion. Like when the Bucks went when Giannis and Middleton was hot, like I think they said Drew and Chris Middleton like led the league in like mid-range jump shots for the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, I feel like it has to be a balance for this Bulls team. I like
Milwaukee's
42
three-point
is a lot. I don't think they got that caliber of shooter.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I'm
I'm glad you stepped into the modern day NBA.
The difference though is Milwaukee's 3-point shooters, Brooke Lopez.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brooke Lopez led the NBA in threes and blocks last year.
Which is wild. Still wild.
Like that's their 3-point shooter. So
And now Dame shooting 30 feet.
Oh yeah, man, we gotta tune in with that game as well. Hey, we appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love, man. It was a bad start to the season. Hopefully the Bulls figure something out. Hopefully that players only meet. I love Billy Donovan saying my favorite thing is he's like, they asked me for space. Or no, I came in and I was like, hey, do y'all got space? And then or do y'all need more space? And then they was like, yeah, and I left.
Yeah.
And in my mind, all I thought was like him opening the door, and DeMar was like, "Not now, Billy. You got it. I'll come back in 5
You want
minutes."
some of this, old man?
Right? You know?
No.
That's literally
No.
all I thought, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Bro. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Appreciate you guys for rocking with us on a daily basis. We'll be back tomorrow to close out the week and do a full preview with the super producer Joel Holt on this game. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. One love. Peace.